anything like right after.
Okay.
Nice. All right. So I do see. Um, oh, and please don't hesitate to interrupt if you have any questions. Uh,
Okay. I'm good at doing that, so don't worry. Thank you.
Sweet. Nice. All right. Let's see. All right, cool. So, let's see. Yeah, so we do see you have, of course, um, your son in Leo with the North Node. I actually have my South Node, um,
Hmm,
right on like the same degree as your North Node, which is awesome.
that's cool.
Right. Other than that, though, you know, there's we do also see your moon is in Gemini, with Mars as a late Scorpio rising. So this gives you the vibration of true courage, or an angel of light. If we think of Gemini moon as an angelic soul, which is actually really awesome. I'll actually attach an article about how like a visualization
Hmm.
of an archetype. But yeah, definitely, I can say from experience, it's a really fun and enlightening vibration. And the core mechanism is augmenting your spirit of Christ and courage with the true nature of your Gemini moon. Everything that you recently completed with the nodal return, and yeah, it's I think I'll start off with you representing the captain quality of your destiny group, which is a fancy way of saying your sun is on the North Node. And yeah, your rising is Scorpio, but um, this does put much of this in your ninth house. So before I actually mention that, do you feel more like a Scorpio rising or a Sag rising? Technically, your rising sign will have already progressed into Sagittarius and into Capricorn, but Scorpio rising is definitely one of those stronger aspects that um, it's easier to feel
Yeah,
if you're.
think Scorpio is. I'm kind of a big thinker and deep, and I love um, anything to do with mediumship and all that kind of thing.
Awesome. Okay, that's good confirmation because that lets us know for sure then that the ninth house energy you have in or are in Leo
Mm.
actually promotes more the, how do I say it, the 10th house awareness of your being. So you are very much so like me in that I'm 27-degree Taurus rising and
Hmm.
you're 28-degree Scorpio rising. So our rising signs are opposite. This actually um this actually puts in a, or rather this gives you a certain quality of being a public figure. The ninth, 10th house axis, it has you be a teacher of courage, teacher of um, the agape love,
Hmm.
but as a teacher, directly or indirectly, you are very much so a public figure in this sense. Which, because your son is here, you're more aware of, your influence here. But of course, then it doesn't have to be formal teaching like you're in a classroom. But
Uh-huh.
is this adventurous nature that allows you to show people what's in their heart. And I would say what's even more amazing is that your Saturn is right on your south node. And once again, my north node is actually 8 Aquarius. So contacts like this, I do definitely appreciate because I see them as faded. And I thank you, first of all, for connecting. And then also, I really find the Saturn South Node aspect quite fascinating in the sense where you're given onus to, um, let's see, where you're given onus to, how do I say it?
Just
Almost put people in karma for perhaps like because of South Node is past life. I like to see Saturn as like someone that hands out subpoenas or serves people,
uh-huh.
and this will speak to an innate ability to judge the karma in Aquarius of what people know. And I like to see this as like if someone ran away from a past life from
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
um it's like you catch them this life, like, oh, see, you can escape it this life, I got you this life. But in more seriousness, it's definitely a very strong element of almost closing out any past life karma that other people need to really be right with. And this could manifest in being able to call out, not like you're exposing, but really recognize childhood patterns or, actual past life patterns and people's attitudes and what they know. In Aquarius, you'll actually know, which is actually interesting. And
Wow.
then do you have what would you say your experience with that is like?
Well, I'm definitely coming into what I believe is my destiny right now. Been I've been sort of a healer off and on all my life, but now I've really gone full throttle into it. And so did crystals. I'm a Reiki master, but I've really spent a lot of time doing mediumship and healing with angels and just really getting to know myself to the point now where I can help people, and it just sort of like oozes out of my mouth without even knowing. And I feel that that is what I'm supposed to be doing because it's helping a lot of people, in many ways that I can't even imagine would happen. For example, I've been living with my dad for a bit. We moved to England from the States. I've been here 2 years and I'm going back. But I've been able to do some trance work with dad and some mediumship work with him to for him to realize, to heal him from his past, from his childhood experiences that have gone with him his whole life. And I just blew my mind that I was able to do that for him. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's actually amazing because Saturn represents the father, the sun and Saturn.
Ah,
Yeah,
cool.
that's actually quite revealing.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a deeper significance to this that you're going to actually unlock because of your Saturn return. Congratulations that you're coming to. My mother was also born 1962.
I thought
Um,
you would because I have a son same age as you. So I just knew that.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can say definitely there's a lot of success both of you are getting ready to conclude and wrap up and come into as far as like wrapping up this Saturn return. Um, but I just kind of wanted to illustrate. Oh, and that's another thing. You and your son as well as my mom and I and then us too as well. Like because our nodes are opposite, it does denote that we've been in each other's lifetimes for uh every lifetime. It's a very
Wow.
deeply yeah, it's a very deeply significant karmic aspect in astrology.
Well,
And
that is really bizarre because, I mean, obviously I've never met you, but I feel like you're a son to me. And you know, on your YouTube, you said it was your birth. You're a Gemini. My son's a Taurus. So you guys are like about a month apart. And I thought, wow, I feel really, you know, like a son-mother relationship going on here. It's very strange. So that's funny that you should say that.
And I know experienced a twin relationship with my mom because my mom is also a Gemini with a Capricorn moon.
Uh,
So I could imagine with your son who's a Taurus, he's actually all square your fixed sign energy, which is very interesting.
cool.
But yeah, it's I just kind of want to emphasize once again, um I really think it's deeply significant that you do have Saturn on the South Node. I think this also speaks of your ability to unlock potential for others in a certain special vein as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when taking into account, perhaps, um, the efficiency of like easing one's mind and maybe even identifying and acknowledging where certain people can inhibit their own heart with their mind.
Mm-hmm.
It actually, and this is also something you'll recognize in yourself in an effort to either work through or, of course, help others work through. Um, so yeah, I definitely feel like coming into 2021, this is definitely something that you'll unlock at a greater level. Especially now since the South Node already went through Aquarius. So um yeah, the the sun being so close to your north node not only makes you aware of like your destiny path, but I also like to um I also like to see it as you being destiny, you having this power or strength to kind of map your path forward. And we can look at Saturn as an anchor to make sure you're grounded, even though it's not an earth sign, just to make sure you're anchored properly. So the other aspect that, oh, and of course, since it's Leo, anything that'll constitute you really, living the truth from your heart
Mm-hmm.
is going to open that path for you and others. In the ninth house, 10th house axis, um, I seen that as being able to almost create one's own religion and philosophy. In this case, based on your heart, based on what's righteous,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, because it's connected to the 10th house, this destines you for success in this capacity, just under the guise of having to release expectations from family while still utilizing the resources you're blessed with, and also taking certain like ideas and making them more into beliefs that you can teach others through your actions and whatnot.
Good.
So, yeah, this is definitely very, very, very awesome because we see that this makes a T square to Neptune in Scorpio, which I definitely believe is one of the most amazing Neptune positions. Is for Neptune, it definitely. I always felt like my mom had a certain psychic ability to her that she just. I mean, then again, moms always know best, right? But I feel like this allows y'all to like really pick up certain things, especially as far as like if someone's lying or not,
Mm-hmm.
and just intuitively know sometimes without even having to know. And it's like I think when people talk about like psychic ability, when someone's looking into a crystal ball, I think that's the aspect that they're referring to, like just being able to uh, pick up intuitively hidden information, especially you having this in the 12th. Um, the square it makes to your Saturn and Sun would suggest a bit of difficulty, but actually, I feel like that square is what allows you personally to be as highly as intuitive as you are, because the awareness of source that your Leo sun grants you um, lets you will influence you to be keenly receptive and aware to, subtle fluctuations in how people may react to you, or just kind of noticing. I kind of see Neptune there as just being intuitively in tune to people's psychological states, and even being able to feel subtle concerns of like why or how they may feel certain ways concerning like why they're frowning, or if they're smiling, why, if that smile is like authentic or not. And this connects with your Virgo energy, which actually, this is interesting because Virgo, I know Uranus was in Virgo, but you actually have Uranus 29 degrees Leo right before it went into Virgo, which is actually a huge deal. It's a very masterful attainment. And to see that on your 10th house cusp, it would denote really coming into career coming into careers, or establishing legacies that are inherent, not only unconventional, but because of you. Like let's say you entered a job because of you. um After you, it'll be completely innovative. It'll never be the same. Like you bring unconventional dynamics and sheer genius to whatever you be a part of. And this is kind of amazing too, considering the the impact that this has on the world, and you have on the world, which now we see is also lightly linked to your destiny path, since it's in the same north node position at the same sign as Leo. Yes, it's not exactly conjunct, but I do see it as a contributing factor, as you also have 29-degree Mercury in Cancer, which is also an indicator of a mastermind. I actually have this in Taurus, so it speaks to why very great of a communicator. And the anaretic degree is going to indicate what you mastered in a past life as well, to come into this lifetime to either master or also really embrace. So concerning that, this speaks to Mercury in Cancer. Isn't really, I mean, it's a great communicator, but there's a deeper, more psychic understanding with communication in this vein, where you're able to just listen to an individual's vocal tonality, and this is going to have you hear what's in their soul. It's like you can feel people's words
Mm-hmm.
and also communicate to people's souls. And so, because this tries your rising, this takes the psychological nature of your personality and allows your mind to almost see the unseen in a certain vein, and definitely process, once again, a more psychological, psychic sense of the world around you. It's close enough to Leo where it will also connect with that. And one thing I love about Leo energy and fire energy is that it allows you to see into the spirit. It allows you to see spirit. So I always like to mention in readings, especially with Leos, that Leo representatives, that you're very much so like exorcists, like the Sun square Neptune here in Scorpio. You can look in someone's eyes and you can see how evil they are. You can see stuck pockets of darkness that need to be freed, which now heavily influence the behavior or attitudes that they may have. And now that I actually realize, outside influences are triggered by squares and oppositions, your light very much so could draw in negativity directly from other people in the way they may react or respond to you, or um, kind of also be threatened by the fact that you see them, and I mean more so entities or dark forces that may be within people, and we could see this as maybe just like a mental illness or psychological malady of some sense, which
Mhm.
is how they usually manifest. What would you say your experience with that is?
Well, I think it's absolutely true. I do have an innate ability to understand people with just by their mannerisms and how they look. As far as the darkness in people, both my kids have in the past had issues with drugs and alcohol abuse. And I've seen their personality change from, angel to demon quite quickly.
Wow.
Um, I I I get I lack of other words because I'm tired. I'm sorry. I'm it's late for me. When you just meet people and you just get the EBGBs from them, I do pick up on that, and usually there's a just reason. They're probably not the greatest of people, and I do pick up on it. So what you've said is very accurate.
Nice. Yeah, it's very, very it's a very it's a very rare aspect because it definitely also does speak to you also being able to draw and command forces in that um vein,
Hmm.
where like the nature of your how do I say this? Just the nature of how you interact with these forces in people.
Hmm.
It 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 definitely it definitely speaks of, the true nature of the Christ spirit that aligns every action you have, being in the flow of destiny. It makes almost every moment of your life with other people faded. I would say even me speaking with you actually now speak definitely going to align my destiny in a certain sense.
Cool. Yeah. That's wonderful. I'm thinking too, I do make a lot of people nervous just by looking at them for some reason. I mean, I know why, because I can see right through to their soul and they know it. Uh, but, I do not intend, that's not my intention when I meet people, but I do trigger that in a lot of people.
And I would also say for those who are pure and have integrity, it's almost even the other way around. Like they open up to you, and it's very, 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 very validating, where you can see the deepest parts of them and help free that out for them to express it even more, which
Yeah.
is pretty, really great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. One time I was on a flight from UK to the States, and this total stranger, sat with me for 11 hours, told me his whole life story, told me he'd had affairs, told me all sorts of things, and never met him before. And it was cute in a way.
Interesting.
Mm.
Yeah. No, that's really amazing. I would say even more because you do have a light grand water trine. Technically, you know, there's not there's not much in the Cancer region of the chart, but I do want to count Mercury as more just a mastery of processing this trine. But Neptune trine Jupiter is so very rare. um, Jupiter in uh, Jupiter in Pisces is a very very amazing place for it. It definitely adds to your intuition. We see that actually forms another cross with Virgo and your Gemini energy, which is awesome. I like to see Jupiter and Pisces as a vivid imagination
Mm-hmm.
and dream life as well. And then Neptune here in the 12th can illuminate anywhere from nightmares to deeply divine psychological precognitive dreams. But this will definitely speak of your intuitive receptivity and sense to just really, if Neptune is intuition, and in Scorpio it's like the wisdom of intuition, knowing how to
Mm-hmm.
sense like a detective with it. And then Jupiter expands how much you can utilize imagination to uh, really sense what you sense. This is where Chiron here adds a lot of more transmutational quality. Actually, I have Chiron Jupiter in Cancer. So I'm somewhat familiar with that ability to expand this transmuting quality, or rather to extend this forth as a miracle healer of some sorts, very efficiently, very effectively. Um, which is also very amazing because the opposition to Pluto will flesh out um, everything that your imagination psychically can really just bring to your attention, and then how you can map this out physically. Your Venus and Virgo, first of all, is the Nine of Pentacles in the tarot. We do see your MC is next to the 11th house. So a lot of your legacy, which MC in 11th is rare, in my opinion. It's usually in the ninth or 10th, but to be next to the 11th is actually a mark of attainment. It shows you're very much so a leader in the collective or community. Of course, we see this in the social sign, but this would speak of you really forming a collective of masters, or highly competent individuals that you are friends with, that circulate around you. And with Venus here, it does speak to the perfection of beauty that you add. It's almost like a Midas touch. But because we have Pluto here, Pluto, I feel, deals with trauma now in this day and age. It's also purity and transformation. So this once again corroborates that, like, you don't leave a place the same as you found it. It's never gonna be the same after you. This 10th house really applies your expertise into, if need be, exposing, but I don't think that's ever your intent. It's really just to, of course, purify and innovate
Absolutely.
considerably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Wh-
agree with that wholeheartedly.
which is a nothing short of amazing. And thank you so much for your service, because a lot of what you've done, I would say, is coming back into the forefront, considering the last 14, 30 years. And, really being put in a position to consolidate that, as well as uh, pave the way for the next generation, which I feel you've done exceptionally well. So when we look at that opposition, we're looking at like the Venusian element of your Venus, which by now you've progressed past and mastered, will speak of your heart's ability to analyze. If we look at Venus as a social energy in the social sign, you're highly analytical. You know how to express charm, but you know how to also, with Pluto, break down like an X-ray. Because Pluto and I'm used to seeing Venus, Pluto, and Scorpio, because that's the for my generation. But in Virgo, it will make you quite extreme in how you analyze what you pick up from other people. And this is where Jupiter kind of gives you a final understanding, a more intuitive sense of how not to just be stuck on the physical, but to see more the spiritual element. And
Mm-hmm.
this is where I believe your Gemini energy takes what you see and expresses it towards others. Um, of course, this is the moon here. And so this is definitely speaking more of how your moon acts as a receptive vessel to take in the truth of other people, and then of course augment what you see. But this also speaks of you being able to feel quite intimately how um this also intimately, shows how you're in a position to very much so, uh, be very much so a lie detector.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's definitely very, 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 um, wait, yeah, it's very, very, very important. Um, to always trust what your soul and Gemini moon pixel, which honestly I don't think you'd ever have an issue trusting after the first 30 years, because the way this energy is it trines Neptune, it tries Saturn. So like your Gemini moon can be pretty unstable, but because yours trines Saturn, it denotes a very strong mind. And you already have a super powerful mastermind too. So this definitely allows you to really feel in what people are saying, and it very much so is a lie detector. Like you can feel if it's a lie or not. And I don't think people know that you have Mars in Gemini, and if there's one thing you don't tolerate, it's liars. And you actually express that, Mars. You have a way with your words that are like weapons, and you can break someone down and decimate them. I would suggest in ways that might not even come off as so mean as just much as like analytically sound and true. And I don't really ever feel like that's your intent, because once again, like when you deal with these energies, it's not like you're saying this to the person, but it's like you can directly engage with these psychological energies or demons within people, which now Mars anchors this strength of Saturn, of knowledge, and very much so expresses this militant energy of Mars, making you very much so a soul warrior of truth, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's me. It sounds like me. Yes.
Yeah. You know what? And the North Node in Gemini now is going to highlight this and really have you move forward in how well you can connect with people,
Good.
give or take. So yeah, outside of that, um, I would definitely say you have very, very, very powerfully um broken through a lot. In fact, if we take your mastermind, I just kind of want to emphasize 29-degree Mercury, 29-degree Uranus is such an amazing attainment. That is just really, I would say, literally the height of mastery. So in fundamental Cancer, this not only on its own, I would dare say, it gives you the master psychic mind, where you analyze or you process with Gemini, you with the strength of Taurus and the power of Aries. It all comes together initially in Cancer with this extra psychic sense to not only give you a powerful, not only evoke powerful words from you, but you speak directly to the soul, and you're able to bring to light what people are feeling. And I could imagine with these Capricorn oppositions, because Saturn is opposite your Mercury now, Pluto is coming opposite your Mercury. This can actually incur a lot of stress mentally, especially if you are being gaslighted, especially if there's a manipulative sense from others that are not acknowledging what you pick up, mainly because not everyone's going to know that you have your moon in Gemini, because this is more unconscious. So it's like, even me, where I'm talking right now, my Gemini sun is here. It's like you're not just listening to my words. It's like your soul is almost hearing the spirit of my words. And
Mm-hmm.
this definitely is a very amazing magic to this. And this is where like If someone were to tell you something that wasn't factual, your Virgo Venus will fire off and fact check them. And then if they said something that wasn't true, your Mars and Moon and Gemini fire off and correct them with truth. So it's literally impossible to lie to you, which is rare and also awesome.
Yeah.
Um, but we also want to attribute Gemini's quality to the eighth house because this is actually what um, encourages a very special level and dynamic of you receiving thoughts from other people, if that makes sense. It's more so being trusted with emotions, not emotion, well, yeah, but more so being trusted um, with, how do I say it? um, Being trusted appropriately with the ideas and information from others. And this is where, with Mars and the moon, a lot of this is more so intuitively brought in, like without people having to tell you. You're just naturally going to draw this from others. People may more naturally be inclined to really just express certain ideas that you may not even have asked for. Or see, the genius of the way you communicate is you know exactly how to ask questions so that you can come to these conclusions, or at least guide and steer conversations in ways that are more enlightening. And in this sense, you're very much so a therapist, utilizing conversation to guide people's imagination, amongst other things.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is definitely going to speak of how much you've grown considerably and assisted others in growing as well. And outside of that, I dare say, it's definitely set to pay off, considering not only all this growth, but what more you're in a position to do moving forward as you complete this Saturn return, which once again is nothing short of amazing. So, this is definitely awesome. And it's really going to illustrate, I would say, a very amazing ability to guide others along the path of light in Christ. And that's where I would say now, and if we put this into context appropriately, I really do believe what you allow and enable people to do is to find Christ, whether, I mean, and I wouldn't even just say Jesus, I would say more so like the Christ that sets people free, that spirit that goes against the Antichrist rebellion,
Yeah.
um, which, without making too religious or even spiritual, if we just break this down logically, you align people's minds towards the truth. And so, given how evil this world is,
Mm-hmm.
this actually sets you up to be a target for people to kind of not really attack, because considering you represent the source of fire, I don't think people really want problems with you. But this definitely sets up spiritual dynamics that, allow for a special set of, indirect attacks and whatnot to be uh very, um, normal part of your day. The only thing is, I don't think you're aware. I think you're aware, but I just don't think it bothers you because you have all this like very strong energy. I almost feel like a part of you, like your Mars and Gemini, is like, I wish someone would try and spiritually attack me. I wish. Try. So
Yeah, I'm
that's
ready.
what, right.
Yeah.
You definitely have this angel warrior soul. So it's really amazing. But Do you have any questions so far?
No. I'm just really floored how the astrology just absolutely depicts my personality to the deepest core of my being. I'm just blown away how I haven't learned this already. I feel like I've wasted all these years. I should have learned it years ago. But no, it's wonderful and beautiful, and I appreciate you explaining this all to me. And it validates everything that's been going on in my mind all my life, that I'm thinking, am I just a daydreamer, or is it real? And it's obviously it was real all along.
Yeah, and that's why I really feel like I'm doing what I do. So this could be introduced in the school systems, and
Yeah,
kids can know. So
totally. Yeah, that's wonderful. Now, did you learn this from a young age, or have you just naturally understood it? Because you have a gift, obviously.
thank you. Yeah, a lot of it was self-taught.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah.
at what age were you when you were triggered to understand astrology so deeply?
2012. I think I was like 22 when this started to. Honestly, I truly believe that with astrology, like it found me, and it helped me be an astrologer. To be
I
honest,
I see. Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's wonder. I applaud you for wanting to bring it to the kids, because if you know this stuff when you're a kid, you're set for life. It's brilliant, and we know the ancients all learned astrology, so it's really
uh,
reinventing what's always been there for us. We've just had it suppressed for so long. So I'm really happy for you. And I heard you say you're going to give courses. Is that true online for astrology?
yes, I'm in the process of creating online courses and also a mentorship program.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to look into that. Cool.
Thank you.
And it's interesting, getting back to my reading about the Christ consciousness, because I woke up in 2012 also.
Yeah.
And the thing that really bothered me the most of the lies that have been going on is the religion. That how could we have been so duped for something that was so beautiful, and that
Uh,
tricked us all. And that was the one trigger. I was talking to some friends the other day, and each one of us had a different trigger of what really upsets us about the lies and the deceit, and from the dark side. And it was interesting. I never really thought about what the one thing was, and for me it was the religion, and how it's been, something so beautiful has been taken to be so controlling and mind um, altering, and for the darkness and not for the light. So that's interesting that you brought that up in my astrology, that is what I'm all about, because it is what I'm all about. Amazing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that distinction too. Actually, and you know what? That makes more sense about you kind of show it, because people are supposed to look at you and get it and be like, this is the lifestyle. Like this is the religion of truth.
Yeah,
And not a more so way of life.
yeah, yeah. Wow, it's amazing. I know I keep saying amazing, but I'm absolutely flawed. I'm absolutely flawed. I mean, religion, I mean, astrology, it really is the true science of life. Incredible.
Yeah, and it's just so fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Awesome. I don't know if it's if I'm getting muddled up, because numbers aren't my thing, but it's interesting that I was born at 432, which is 432 hertz is the heart chakra, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, and that's all about Christ consciousness, and it's the Leo. That's a part of the body that is represented by the Leo.
Yeah. Very, very true. Very, very true. That was amazing. Yeah, 432. I'm actually wanting to start putting my music there. That's awesome. That just explains everything right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, it does. That's what I'm saying. It's all like, oh my God, it's right there in front of us, but you just have to know how to unlock the key to it all. And you've done that.
That is so beautiful. And you know, true as a if we use true as an indicator for um Gemini and love is indicated for Leo, technically, this is true love, your vibration.
Yeah, and I really do genuinely, truly love, not just people, but animals and the earth and the water. I love everything. I just have this sense of love for, and that's what I want to exude to the world in this incarnation.
And thank you very much for your presence. It is much needed to be sure.
Yeah, well, there's lots of us. We just and you're one of them too. It's we're all finding each other finally, so we can be a superpower together.
Oh, amen to that. Amen
Yeah,
to that.
yeah, very cool. So is your mom still with us?
Yes, she's
Okay.
in Texas right now. She has a pediatric practice.
Oh
We
no.
we thankfully we speak every now. She's given me this spiritual warfare video to watch. She's more, it's actually ironic, like she's still very more traditional Christian,
Oh, okay.
where right, but thankfully, you know, we still talk about our spiritual paths, even
Yeah.
though she doesn't agree with everything I believe in. But
Well,
it
she's
was,
probably just a product of her upbringing and the dogma that went with all that.
yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Luckily, I had a mother and a grandmother that were psychics, so they believed in the Christ consciousness, but they weren't religious, which has given me the freedom to know it's okay to do that. So it's interesting our journeys, how we all get there in the end. It just we're all
Yeah,
at all at different times.
yeah, very, very much so.
Mm.
Um, let's see. Um, you, oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm sorry, I completely almost forgot what I was going to say, but yeah. Oh, there we go. It was actually going to mention. Um, I'm glad you mentioned a bit of your ancestry because I believe the fourth house Pisces energy can denote ancestral magic. If
Mm.
not,
Hmm.
yeah. If not the Saturn, because we do see the fourth as like the home and ancestors, and this would definitely denote a very supernaturally rich ancestry that with Neptune here, because that one thing that the people born in the 60s are reaping in is the Neptune trine
Hmm.
that is, you know, there's the Pluto trine in Cap and then the Neptune trine in Pisces that's now fully completing your psychic ability and intuitive ability
Yeah.
to make this quite effortless. So you having Jupiter here is a very amazing deal and ability. It's only going to amplify more so your intuitive abilities coming into your Jupiter return. So there's a Saturn return and a Jupiter return coming 2023 that is definitely going to supplement even more of this completion that you're, you know, destined to step into, which is very amazing.
Good, good. Yeah, I'm loving how it's growing daily. I'm to the point where I think you had mentioned that you weren't using your tarot cards anymore, and I'm finding that the information that I was getting from the tarot cards before is just downloading in my head, and I'm just spewing it out without even looking or sourcing any other vehicle to show people. It's just coming out, which is it's a bit scary to be honest, but I'm very grateful.
It's almost as if instead of the cards being confirmation, or instead of going to the cards, it's like the cards are now confirmation for you or like supplementary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's been quite recent. So that, but it's great. I love it. I love helping people, and they just look at me and like, oh, yes, you're absolutely bang on. How did you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. It just came into my head, and I just told you.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, so it's just so much more effortless now.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So is the same, did the same thing happen to you? Is that why you're not using the cards anymore, or you've just moved on to some other thing?
Yeah, I just felt it was time to move on. I just kind of felt like perhaps it's something I can let go. Like, if they're cards, I'll read them, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to focus more on like palmistry or numerology,
Oh, right, that's right. You said, yeah, 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 yeah.
and
Yeah,
instead
numerology is
work more with
fascinating too.
tarot. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Other than that, um, one moment. Yeah, other than that, um, I would say because we do have this Gemini North Node transit, um, this is going to unlock more attributes of your personality so that you could transform relationships with others. This is more establishing more relationships to take everything you've been teaching and really, just spread that truth. I think this is this is amazing because I think this period is having you spread your own gospel to people and just enlighten people's whole worlds.
Yeah, that's all I do. And I love every minute of, for those who live, who have ears to listen, I'm all about helping them any way I can, for their own benefit and for the benefit of all ultimately.
Yeah, very, very true. And very, very grateful to have you here in this lifetime with us because once again, like this path has totally taught me the understated quality of fire signs in general and in really everybody, but the need for this level of authenticity now more than ever, especially.
Yeah.
So nothing but honor for you, and thanks again for ordering this reading.
Oh, my
And
pleasure. And likewise to you, Michael. You're doing a great service to humanity. You've touched my heart, and I've got a couple of friends around here that love you equally. So you're doing an awesome job too. So keep it up. And I have to say, you do make me laugh. I don't understand a lot of what you're saying, but you do make me laugh. And my younger daughter loves to hear me laugh when I watch your YouTube sometimes.
that means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. So keep up the good work, and I wish you all the best. Truly, I do.
Thank you. And we'll do. All I need to do really is wrap up my last two summer classes in July,
Uh-huh.
and I'll definitely have a lot more free time to focus on this path and with.
Good, good. Well, all our paths consistently evolve anyway, so that's good. You've got sometimes you're on a roll, then you have to reflect and maybe tweak it a bit and go down another path. But it's all going towards the light, and you're helping people, and that's your mission, and that's wonderful.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Did you have any final questions so far?
No, I don't think so. I think, like I said, you've just really confirmed in my mind what I'm all about, what I stand for, and um, knowing that everything that is in my head is real.
Nice. Yeah, and actually just to kind of add to that a bit, yeah, I think that's a really great realization because there's certain magical principles that you have and are that may defy, what we've been taught about reality or maybe what could even be real at that moment. And I would more attribute that to your connection to the divine and the supernatural, which is now making itself more known through you, and will require, just once again, that deeper trust in everything that and think and see and experience in your head. Because a lot of this is also you inadvertently and directly warping reality itself to match your inner state, which is as much as an attainment as much as it is your representativeness of this very primordial energy.
Cool. So I've always wanted to be an alchemist, and in a way, I am, which is great.
Yeah, highly fascinating. Highly fascinating.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much. And your final words to me was the whole thing I needed to hear was just trust and believe in what I have. And as people in the 3D world at the moment, it's hard to not get into that, not necessarily fear, but that, oh no, you don't really have it mind, when your soul knows, yes, you do have it. Trust and believe.
Right. Yeah, very, very well said.
Yeah.
Trust and believe. Yeah. And I would say that a lot of trust for you extends really more towards being able to trust in the good part of others,
Yeah.
even if dealing with their darkest. It's like you help transmute it and help give them the choice for deliverance.
Yeah, and that's great. That's great. Everybody deserves a chance and a second chance, and then, but ultimately the choice is theirs. But yeah, if we all do our little bit, then it'll all get done eventually. It's all very positive. I feel very positive anyway for the future of us all. So, well, thank you, Michael. I will continue to watch you on YouTube, like I said, and I do wish you much love and send you much love rather, and wish you all the best in your journey in your career.
Thank you so very much. One moment, let me actually